I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys are excited because we've started the recording. Today, we shall be resuming Lord of Mysteries. We are on Volume 2. Look at that. It's a good milestone. We are on Volume 2, Chapter 222. Look at that. Volume 2, Chapter 222. Yeah, bro. Welcome back. Yes. Yeah, sorry I had to end stream right there. Slight technical difficulties, bro. Sir, I know. Say no more. Let's go, bro. Let's go. All right. Oh, wait, before we start, I need my timestamps up. Oh my god. Almost forgot my timestamps. All right, guys. You know who it is. It is Easy Geeky. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe while I set up my timestamps. Chat froze? Okay, we're going to reset that. And now here, with the power of magic, we're going to pause this video and make sure everything's good. All right. Chapter 200. Why? No. I lied. Change music. Okay, now we're back. I'm going to raise the volume a little bit, but I think we're good. Chapter 222 is called The First Job. Oh, his first job as a PI, dude. I can tell bro is on the clown sequence. I know. We love it. We love it. Here we go, dude. Ding dong. A rope was being tugged, causing the doorbell and the sound it made to constantly tinkle, ascended sounds echoing throughout the spacious but relatively empty living room. KLEIN, who was seated on the sofa reading a newspaper to study the various investment opportunities, stood up. He was wearing a white shirt and a black vest without a bow tie, just like what one would wear at home. The first job in my career as a detective, okay? Oh, I know. Yeah, sorry about that. Stream crashed. Technical difficulties, empty. He was wearing a white shirt and a black vest without a bow tie, just like what one would wear at home. I think I skipped a sentence, but it is okay. We are 3 days rusty. The first job in my career as a detective, but I can't always be at home waiting for a mission to arrive. Yes, I need to hang a notice on the door along with a fountain pen so that clients can write down time for their next visit and allow me to prepare in advance. However, for a new detective in this profession, without any frame, doing so would basically be the same as not having a next time sign. I can only go through the trouble performing a divination in the morning to see if I would receive any jobs for the day, and if so, what time so to make plans, of course. Of course, it's also possible that I would miss out on a mission from powerful beyonders. Well, so be it. It might be a good thing after all. He walked to the door, and without looking through the peephole, the image of the visitors outside appeared in his mind. One of them was an old lady in a black plush hat. Her back was slightly hunched, and her face was deeply wrinkled. Her skin was shriveled and sallow, but her dark dress was very formal and neat. Her temples were completely white, but her blue eyes were quite lively. She was looking at the young man beside her, gesturing for him to pull the doorbell again. The young man was in his 20s with eyes similar to those of the old ladies. In the progressively cold weather, he wore a black double-breasted coat and a half-top hat and a bow tie, like he was about to attend a banquet. It was as if he wouldn't relax his demands of himself at any moment. With the help of a clown's premonition, KLEIN turned the handle, opened the door, and greeted his visitors with a smile before the bell could ring again. Good morning, madam, sir. What a wonderful day it is, at least up to this point, for I have already seen the sun for 5 minutes. He spoke of the weather in a slightly exaggerated manner, small talk that had been popular in Backland for more than a century. Yes, it's always shy and it doesn't come out from behind the fog and the dark clouds. The old lady nodded in agreement. By her side, the lady asked, "Are you a detective Sherlock Moriarty?" Just look at that, dude. Moriarty. Gee, look at that. I can't believe I used to mix up his name and call him Moriarty. Bro, wait, powers of scheduling? I need to do divinations to make sure, like, is today a proper time to stream, or is this an adequate time? Yeah, we need that, dude. By her side, the lady asked, "Are you a detective? Are you Detective Sherlock Moriarty?" "Yes, and what may I help you with?" "I'm sorry, please come in. Let's sit down and talk." Hold up. I wonder if him giving himself the last name of Moriarty is foreshadowing that maybe he won't always play the good guy. Like, maybe he will have to make decisions where he's viewed upon like as a bad guy. That's crazy ass foreshadowing, because we already know Moriarty is Sherlock's arch enemy. Okay, no, I'll stop. No stalling. We just read. "Yes, and what may I help you with?" "I'm sorry, please come in. Let's sit down and talk." KLEIN turned his body to the side, making way for his guest as he pointed to the guest area. "No, there's no need. I don't want to waste any time. My poor Brody is still waiting for me to save it," the old lady said with a rather sharp voice. "It." KLEIN notched the most important pronoun and suddenly had a bad feeling. The very formally dressed young man nodded and said, "Brody is a cat." Oh my god, find my lost cat. Brody is a cat owned by my grandmother, Madame Doris. He went missing last night and I hope you can help us find him. We live at the end of the street and I'm willing to pay you 5 solely for it. Of course, and you can prove that if you spent more time and effort than that, I'll make it up to you. Find the cat. The reason why you're interested in me with this job is simply because of the convenience stemming from how we live on the same street. Klein felt that this wasn't the detective career that he had imagined. Nah, it's only the first one. He's already a cult leader. That is true. So maybe, yeah, Moriarty is quite fitting. Actually, yeah, you're right, Romero. It makes me look like a clown. Not, yeah, no pun intended. Well, I can't turn down my first business deal. This is a Sears point of view. He pondered for a few seconds and asked, can you describe it in detail? Granny Doris. Oh, so not only is he acting as a clown, he still has to keep up his Sears principles. Brody. Wait, I skipped a line. Oh my god, I skipped a line 5 minutes into the recording. It makes me look at a clown. Well, I can't turn down my first business. This is a Sears point of view. He pondered for a few seconds and asked, can you describe it in detail? Okay, now I can see why it takes so long to digest a high sequence potion. Because now you have to like keep up your acting principles from like every prior sequence. Okay, I get it. Can you describe in detail? Granny Doris spoke out of the young man could open his mouth. Brody is a lovely, lively black cat. It's very healthy, has beautiful green eyes, and loves to eat cooked chicken breast. Goddess, last night he ran off just like that. No, it must have gotten lost. I've placed a lot of chicken breast in its bowl, but it refuses to return to take a look. Klein's lips curved up and said, I'm very satisfied with your descriptions, Miss Doris. I accept this request. All right, let's go to your home now. I need to search for clues and find traces. You should be clear that the basis of my reasoning lies in the details. Ms. Doris didn't consult her grandson as she nodded and said, you're the most proactive detective I've ever seen. It's a deal. I thought I said it's a duel. It's a deal. I've had the same experience. I think it's pronounced Brode. Oh, did I mispronounce it? Don't need to keep up. Seer acting. Oh, you don't need to keep up, Seer. But maybe he's still following, right? Out of habit. Brody. Oh, I'm okay. I get it. Brody. I was thinking of like Broly from like Dragon Ball for a sec. Okay. So it's Brode? Why is there a Y? It's Brode? Okay. After, let me just say Brody for now, because just until I get used to it. After Brody went missing, something went wrong with my grandmother's mind. So much that she started hearing things. It's a Beyonder cat. She keeps telling me that she hears poor Brody meowing miserably. Klein immediately nodded and said, I'll do my best. Right. I still haven't gotten your name. Jurgen Cooper, a senior solicitor. The young man replied, soon they reach 58 Minx Street and enter the dark house. This is Brody's bowl. This is his favorite box. He always sleeps here. Dora's wrinkled face was filled with worry and expectations. Klein squatted down and found several strands of black cat fur in the box. He straightened up and gripped his silver inland cane with the hand that held the cat's fur. Klein's gaze turned deep as he pretended to observe. You know what? I literally missed the part where it said his lips twitched. Snap! I literally lost my place. But I know I read a line before I read it out loud. It said Klein twitched his lips. I assumed that was him acting as a clown. And I lost my place again. I am so sorry. It's been like 3-4 days. He straightened up and gripped his silver inland cane with the hand that held the cat's fur. Klein's gaze turned deep as he pretended to observe his surroundings as he silently recited a divination sentence. His hand secretly slipped from the end of the cane but didn't leave it completely. It just made it difficult for Jurgen and Doris to notice that the cane was standing on its own. Soon after, the black silver... Oh, he's divining. But he's trying to keep it subtle and hide it. Soon after, the black silver inland cane tilted to the side. It fell very slowly with very little movement. Klein gripped the cane again, looked in the direction, and observed it for more than 10 seconds. Then he strode over to an old cupboard. Any signs of Brody running away? Jurgen asked with concern. The old lady Doris was also waiting for an answer. Let's put this a little bit higher. She was waiting for an answer, and I lost my place. Without answering, Klein kneeled and pulled open a door at the bottom of the cupboard. Meow. A black cat darted out, tail high, and ran for its bowl. Brody, he's back. When did you get into the cupboard? How did you get locked in there? Miss Doris cried. Shit, man, you better pay up, dude. Miss Doris cried, surprised and confused. Jurgen turned his head in surprise and looked at Klein. How did you know it was in the cupboard? Klein smiled and replied in a deep voice. Inference, my good man. Inference, okay. After you're not gonna give him more? After saying inference, my good man. After obtaining the 5 solar rewards from Miss Doris and Jurgen, as well as the friendship, Klein returned to 15 Minx Street under the glooming weather. Before he even got close, he saw a figure loitering in front of his door. More business. When Klein looked over, he saw the visitor was a boy of 15 or 16, dressed in an old coat and round that he didn't fit his age. It's him. The one that was on the train in the beginning, right? Of the volume? It's him. Klein immediately recognized him, as the boy he had met on the steam train the day he had arrived in Backland. Back then, he was being... Oh my god, my voice squeaked. He was being pursued, but his maturity and calmness at the time had left a quite deep impression on Klein. What would he want to entrust me with? As he wondered, Klein walked over and smiled. Excuse me, are you looking for me? The teenage boy... Oh... Sherlock is the go? Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe I called him Sherlock Holmes back in the day. In volume 1. Excuse me, are you looking for me? The teenage boy was startled as he quickly turned around, his bright red eyes filled with an unconcealable fear. He composed himself and asked hesitantly, "Are you Detective Sherlock Moriarty?" "Why, yes." "Yes." Klein looked around and said, "Let's talk inside." All right. The teenage boy didn't refuse. Inside, Klein didn't take off his coat, but he did take off his hat and put his cane away. He led the teenage boy to the guest area, pointed at the long sofa, and said, "Please have a seat. How might I address you? What job do you have for me? You can call me Ian." Ian. Lan? Ian. Capital I. The teenage boy surveyed his surroundings and felt silent for a few seconds. "I was previously hired by another detective, Mr. Zuriel, Victor Lee, who helped me gather some news and information." Klein sat down, clasped his hands, and said, "Does the job have anything to do with your former employer?" "Yes." Ian nodded solemnly. "A few days ago, I suddenly found myself being followed by someone with ill intentions. Therefore, I thought of a way to lose their tail. I believe you saw this scene yourself, Miss Moriarty. I recognize you as the man who was sizing me up on the metro." Oh, shit, he's a Beyonder. He probably has like a half sequence if he was able to catch him. "As the man who was sizing me up on the..." Shut up! This is gonna be his sidekick. I already know. This is gonna be... Oh my god. Sherlock and... What's Sherlock's friend? Oh my god, how am I forgetting his name? Sherlock's friend. I forgot. What's the friend's name? Sherlock's friend? Can we get a chapter 40? I got you. 40 chapters this stream. Yes, Ian, not solemnly. A few days ago, I saw you. This level of observation skills isn't any worse than his spectators. Could it be that he was born with a special ability? Sidekick. Or is he a Beyonder? Klein activated his spirit vision and looked at Ian, but he didn't find anything strange. Watson, yeah, this is gonna be his Watson. No. I'm not getting... I am closing my heart for Ian. They are fucking killing this child at the end of this volume. I'm not falling for Cuttlefish's setups anymore. He fucking killed Old Man Neil and he fucking killed Dunn Smith. He killed my favorite characters. I already like Ian because he was introduced in the very beginning. And he's naturally talented. No. My heart is sealed. I don't care. Just kill him off already. Just get it over with. Just get it over with right already, dude. He nodded and calmly replied, "Yes, your response left an impression on me." Ian didn't harp on the topic and continued, "I suspect that my encounter has something to do with Mr. Zuriel, so I went to visit him at his place. I found the place seemingly normal, but there were many hints that indicated that someone had infiltrated and triggered all the tiny mechanisms. This is going to come back and bite him at the end of the volume, huh? I haven't seen Mr. Zuriel since that day." You guys are adding me. Hold up. I might be onto something, huh? "I suspect that something has happened to him. I tried to call the police, but his disappearance period has yet to reach the required number of the day to make the request. I tried to get help from other detectives that I knew, but all of them turned me down on the grounds that they had just met Mr. Zuriel at a fellow detectives party. That surprised me because I didn't receive any response from Mr. Zuriel when I contacted him using the agreed upon method. I still stood by my judgment and intended to ask for the help of a detective whom Mr. Zuriel doesn't know. Well, as such, that meant it would be someone I don't know either. I had no idea who to look for as well. Therefore, I can only search through the newspapers and ended up finding you, Mr. Sherlock Moriarty." Look at that. Bro's traumatized. I know, dude. Dude, thank you guys. I already forgot to update. All right. Chapter 223 is called 3 Matters. Klein asked after listening carefully, "So you suspect that the Zuriel whom the detective saw, who was someone in disguise..." That sounds almost like Quillingus. Holding his brown round hat, Ian replied as if he had already thought about it. "It's a possibility, but I think it's too difficult due to the huge risks involved. The party was at night, and it's true that the lights weren't very bright, but most of the people attending are detectives with keen observation skills." There is a detective pathway. There has to be a detective pathway. It has to probably be related to the lawyer pathway, right? but most of the people attending are detectives with keen observation skills. Just a wig, beard, or cosmetics can hardly hide you from their eyes. Perhaps some beyond their powers can do it, just like how creeping hunger enables such an ability. There was a little trap in Klein's question. He wished to determine from the teenage boy's answer that the expression on his face and his body. Damn, look at him clowning. The expression on his face and his body language to determine if he had ever come in contact with Beyonders or if he knew things about mysticism. The initial answer was the initial, but we don't know the follow-up answer. The initial answer was no. When Ian saw Detective Moriarty nodding slightly in agreement with his reasoning, he continued, I believe that the detective saw Mr. Zuriel, but he wasn't free. He was in a controlled state in which he couldn't send out distress signals. The reason why he wasn't responding to my attempts... Oh, I think the music is a little bit loud, right? Let me lower it just a smidge. The reason, as I find my place, the reason why he wasn't responding to my attempts to Leia Isian, I read that so wrong, dude. With him is to probably signal to me that he needs help. A reasonable explanation. Oh, I like how you guys were like a reasonable development. A reasonable explanation. Klein released his clasped hands and sat back a little, making himself look more relaxed and confident. Okay, I see what he's doing. Ian fell silent for about 10 seconds before he said seriously, I'd like to entrust you with the task of investigating Mr. Zuriel and determine if his current condition. All I need is confirmation. Considering that Ian was a semi-professional who had gathered intelligence and information for a detective, Klein had the intention to make his acquaintance. He smiled and said, then how much are you going to pay? You should be well aware that this may be very dangerous. Ian looked down at the pocket of his old coat and said, after some deliberation, there are two ways. The first, I can directly give you payment that's enough to satisfy you. Afterwards, regardless of whether the mission is simple or difficult, there will be all unless... Oh, I read that wrong. Afterwards, regardless of whether the mission is simple or difficult, that will be all unless you suffer a relatively serious injury. Secondly, I could pay you £5 in advance, and when you finish the job, you can add on the bill depending on the difficulty of the matter, but it's easy to cause a dispute even if there's a contract. Klein pretended to be in thought, and after almost 30 seconds, he said in a low voice, why don't we do it this way? You can pay me £5 in advance and help me with the 3 things after the mission is completed. Don't worry, they won't be anything difficult. They'll be within your capabilities and it won't make you feel too uncomfortable. This can be agreed upon in the contract. Ian knitted his brows before signing up. He leaned forward and stretched out his hands. All right. Klein shook his hands with him, pulled out a standard contract that he had prepared, picked up a round fountain pen, and added all the details he had discussed and stamped it with his fingerprint. After signing the contract, he gave the teenage boy Ian a stack of white paper as he watched him write down Detective Zuriel's relevant information. After a while, he browsed through the information and casually asked, how can I contact you if there's an emergency or if I've confirmed Zuriel's condition? Ian pursed his lips and remained silent for quite a while. Only when Klein looked over that he replied in a somewhat stiff manner, you don't need to contact me. I will appear at the right time. Without another word, he took out a thick stack of cash from the pocket of his old coat. They seemed to be stacked up in a very neat order from his high face value to low face value. From high face value to low face value. Ian pulled out 3 1-pound notes from the bottom of his counted 6.5 solely notes and finally 10 1 solely notes. When Klein saw that Ian had neatly arranged the notes with even the portraits of the former kings facing up without a single mistake, Klein suddenly felt a bit frustrated. This is some late-stage obsessive-compulsive disorder. He has OCD. This is some late-stage OCD. He silently exhaled and received the payment from Ian. According to his visual estimate, Ian had less than £3 left. He probably had all his Oh, no. Why is he taking all his savings? He probably had all his savings with him. If I had asked for more, would he bail on me without paying? It doesn't look like the kind of person to do so, but one shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Klein folded the bills at random and stuffed them into... Klein folded the bills at random. That probably got him mad. He folded the bills at random and stuffed it into his pocket, ignoring the untidiness. As such, he succeeded in seeing Ian's slightly twisted expression. I'll try to complete... Like, was he mad that he did that? I tried to complete the investigation as soon as possible. Klein stood up and held out his hand at a gesture of bidding him farewell. Thank you for your help. Ian thanked him sincerely because he counter offer was obviously a discount. Watching the boy who was more mature than his age leave, Klein stroked his chin and suddenly said to himself, this matter goes deeper than it seems. Ian didn't mention anything about Zuriel's recent investigation or what information he had been instructed to gather. Ah, he's hiding that. So he's only giving half truths. Forget it. I'll handle as much as this money is worth. All I need to do is confirm Zuriel's current condition. He turned around and walked back into the living room. While doing so, he fished out a quarter pence of his trouser pockets. Ping. As the copper coin tumbled in the air, KLEIN turned dark as he muttered if there was any beyond elements in the case he was handling. Then he opened his right hand and tried to catch the copper penny. Clang, the coin slipped from his fingertips and fell to the ground, rolling away. The result means that divination had failed. So there are no beyonder like elements present, right? From the looks of it, Ian had withheld. Oh, from the looks of it, half true. From the looks of it, Ian had withheld more things than I thought. The information is so lacking that I can't even obtain a vague divination result. He pursed his. Oh, the divination failed, so there was no yes or no. He pursed his lips, took a few steps forward, and bent down to pick up the coin. That night, in the wee hours of the morning, at 138 Rose Street, Backland Bridge, KLEIN had changed into a cheap light blue worksman outfit. His mouth, chin, and cheeks were covered with a black beard. At first glance, that made him look rough and savage. He wore a dark-colored cap and pressed it so low that it nearly covered his eyes. He's using his first disguise. Such caps originated from the Intis Republic hunters. There were certain differences from the traditional deer hunting caps of the Lowen Kingdom hunters wore. However, such caps had become popular among the lower class populace of Backland, hiding in the shadows of the Intis parasol tree. By the side of the road, KLEIN studied the houses across the street with the aid of the elegant gas lamps. It was Zuriel's home. The detective from the South Vial, his parents, relatives, and friends were all there, and he had come to Backland alone, where he slowly forged a name for himself. Damn, this guy has so many fake names. He was still a bachelor and had only hired 2 temporary maids. Ooh, I skipped a line. Hiding in the shadows of the Intis parasol tree by the side of the road. I'm going to reread this. KLEIN studied the house across the street with the aid of the elegant gas lamps. It was Zuriel's home. The detective was from South Vial. His parents, relatives, and friends were all there, and he had come to Backland alone, where he slowly forged a name for himself. He was still a bachelor. Oh, no, I didn't skip a line. He was still a bachelor and had only hired 2 temporary maids, the kind that came by every 3 days to clean up the place without needing to provide them with food or lodging. At that moment, the terrace house he rented was pitch dark. KLEIN took off the silver chain inside his sleeve and let the topaz pendant hanging down naturally. There's danger inside, there's danger inside. After repeating it 7 times, he opened his eyes and saw that the spirit pendulum was spinning clockwise. So there is, but very slow. So it's manageable danger. There's danger, but it's nothing serious. KLEIN muttered and once again confirmed that he had his tarot cards, self-made charms, and the holy night powder on him. After doing all this, he looked around and take advantage of the stillness of the night. He nimbly rushed across the street. There was no veranda, garden, or lawn, as it directly faced the edge of the street. KLEIN went around to the side of the easily climbing up the water pipes to a small balcony on the 2nd floor where clothes could be hung out to dry. Immediately following that, he took out a tarot card and slid it through the crack, opening the door to the corridor. Following Ian's drawings of the house's layout, KLEIN walked almost soundlessly to Zuriel's bedroom. He lightly tapped his left molar and activated his spirit vision. Through the wooden door, he looked inside. Spirit vision could see auras colors through obstacles without spirituality. What? Spirit vision could see the auras colors through obstacles. So he can, it's like X-ray vision. He can see through walls. With spirit vision could see aura colors through obstacles without spirituality. However, it was highly dependent on one's abilities. Currently, KLEIN was only able to observe through wooden doors, but was stumped by concrete walls. Furthermore, the scenes he could see weren't too clear. In his vision, he saw 3 humanoid auras in the bedroom behind the door. The colors were blurry and were located in different locations. There are 3 people lying in an ambush. Is it to capture Ian or someone else? The bedroom, it's a setup. The bedroom isn't that big. KLEIN stood in the darkness, calmly considering the results of his observation. At that moment, he suddenly retreated towards the balcony while keeping his footsteps very light. Back at the balcony, KLEIN took a thin silver slice from his pocket. This was a slumber charm that he had created in an attempt during the afternoon. He didn't... I had a cough. Good morning, Ellie. Good morning, beautiful. Hi. He didn't pray to the Evernight goddess, but to himself instead. He held a ritual in the name of the fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler above the Great Fog, the king of yellow and black who wields good luck, before entering the world above the Great Fog to respond. Since this method was difficult to mobilize the power of the mysterious space above the Grey Fog, KLEIN could only use his own spirituality to respond. The charms that he made in the end were worse than normal, but better than the ones he made in his own name. After surveying his surroundings again, KLEIN covered his mouth and whispered a word in ancient Hermes. Crimson. Feeling the chill of the charm, he moved quickly but silently to the door of Zariel's bedroom again. As he held the handle, he injected spirituality into the thin silver slice. Creak. KLEIN carefully twisted the handles and opened a tiny crack in the door. Immediately after that, he threw the slumber charm inside. Pulling back his arm, KLEIN closed the door again and began counting. 3, 2, 1. Give me a kiss, Charlie. He abruptly pushed open the door and rolled to the ground, not sensing any movement from the 3 people. I'm holding her like a parrot. Not sensing any movement from the 3 people, KLEIN stood up and used the crimson moonlight shining through the window, began observing the room. It was a normal furnished bedroom with bed, a row of closets, a desk, a set of sofas, and a coat rack. On the other side of the bed, a man in a black coat was sleeping soundly. Remember Dunsmith's outfit? He had a black coat. I'll miss him already. He's base. After that, it's unnecessary diversity and pander. Oh, wait, what's going on? Star Trek? I like the movies. I like the current trilogy. Was it a trilogy? Yeah, there was a trilogy. And I know they still have plans to make one more movie to like kind of end the movie arc. He abruptly pushed open the door and rolled to the ground, not sensing any movement from the 3 people. KLEIN stood up and used his charisma, moonlight shining through the window, began observing the room. How's my audio from back here? It was a normal furnished bedroom with a bed, row closets, a desk, and a seat of sofas, and a coat rack. On the other side of the bed, a man in a black coat was sleeping soundly. I just reread that. I'm sorry. In addition to that, there was one person by the side of the sofa and another in front of the closet. All of them were asleep. Why are they asleep? After confirming the trio's condition, KLEIN walked over to the bed and bent down to find a few short yellowish brown hair. According to what Ian had written, Detective Zariel was a man with short yellowish brown hair. This should be right. KLEIN whispered. He grabbed the few strands of hair and sat down on the sofa. Sorry if you can hear her licking my hand. We're almost done with the chapter. He slowly sat in the darkness tainted by the crimson light and planned on using dream divination to find Zariel. Leaning back against the back of the sofa, the corner of his mouth curled up as he made a self-deprecating comment. Deduction, my good man. Ah, look at that. Deduction, my good man. My good fellow man. That was a good chapter. So he found him. Update chapter. Oh, you guys are quick today. Yeah, let's update that. Wait. Got you, Cabby. They're sleeping because he used a slumber charm. Actual goldfish memory. I know. This is my first time reading in a few days. I gotta get back in the routine of reading, man. I gotta get back to my my acting method as a streamer reading Lord of Mysteries. I know. I fell out of habit. Ellie, yeah, she was sitting like a parrot. Yeah, dude, so I've noticed sometimes when I read things, if I read it too quick, I completely just miss what I read. And I have to reread it. I thought something happened. Okay, because I remember he said he had his cards, he had his sleeping charm, and I forgot the other thing he had. I didn't realize he used the sleeping charm. I got it. Thank you. Thank you guys for pointing that out. I completely missed that. All right, let's go to the next chapter. We are at 224. And now, after our 30-minute side tangent, talking about movies and whatnot, we are back. We are back. Chapter 224 is called, oh wow, I cannot read that. Metaphysics-styled detective. Metaphysics? Okay, all right. The delay really is showing. Yeah, there was a delay. The dim room was covered in a thin veil of crimson moonlight, and everything was indistinct. The 3 men in the black coats were sleeping in different spots, and on the sofa, KLEIN's half eyes blended into the darkness, closing them. It was as if he had entered a deep slumber. His dream was a gray, distorted world, occasionally flashing with brilliance. Finally, the brilliance settled to form a scene. It was a gloomy corner, that ground sloshed with sewage. A man with short brown hair, a white shirt, and a brown vest was leaning against the wall, surrounded by the dense mischief of gray rats. Half of the man's lips had been bitten off, revealing his yellowish teeth and rotting gums. His nose was only stained with blood mixed with some short hair, and the flesh of his face had disappeared piece of piece, revealing white bone. White Fat maggots were crawling around everywhere, constantly squirming, and his throat seemed to have been the victim of some wild beast. At least half of it was missing. Klein, did Zariel go insane? Klein could just barely make out that... Zariel. Klein could just barely make out that this was Zariel Victor Lee. It was nearly impossible to relate him to the mature and handsome man in the black and white photograph he had taken with Ian. Zariel is already dead. Oh, shit, he's already dead? Oh my god, dude. Wait, why? What was the delay, FY? The delay is really... I'm sorry there's a really big delay. Zariel is already dead. In a few days, he would probably be gnawed to the point where he would only be bone. He might have not even had a complete skeleton left. Klein left the dream and recalled what he had just seen. It's a dream divination. Klein left the dream and recalled what he had just seen. His past experiences had allowed him to witness the similar corpses more calmly. Looking out of the window at the crimson moon, Klein thought for more than 10 seconds and decided to try communicating with the soul of the man in black next to the sofa. During the last few days of preparations, he had concocted a bottle of Amantha extract and Eye of the Spirit medications. As for the Serenity agent, Klein had no need for it. He was personally capable of invading the dreams of others and forcefully communicating with the souls while maintaining calm and rationale. After setting up a simple altar and letting the quiet and tranquil fragrance waft out to create a half-dream state, Klein prayed to himself, the fool that doesn't belong to this era. Following that, he entered the world above the gray fog and used more than 2/3 of his spirituality to give a response. When I advance to sequence 7, such prayers should allow me to use a little of the power of the mysterious space above the gray fog, just like my summoning and bestowment rituals. Looking around, Klein made a rough judgment and quickly returned to the real world. He passed through what seemed like a starry sky and a chaotic storm of thoughts, entering the metal plane of the target. There he saw the man's illusionary figure floating in midair. Who sent you to Zariel's home? Klein looked at him and asked in a deep voice. The man replied in a daze. The illusionary eye vacant, mercilent. Wait, what? His illusionary eyes vacant, mercilent. Mercilent sent me to wait for the boy named Ian. The light in his spiritual world changed, revealing a lean, capable-looking, dark-skinned man. He was none other than the leader of the group who was chasing Ian on the steam train. Oh, the guy from the beginning. Okay. As expected, it's him. Klein, who had exhausted so much of spirituality as responding to the prayers, was beginning to feel exhausted. He hurriedly asked, who ordered Mercelot? Oh, Mercelot. No idea. He's an executioner of our Zamagir gang. No one can order him other than the boss, the man said blankly. Zamagir, the world warrior in the language of the Highlanders. Klein, a pseudo-historian but a true mysticism scholar, suddenly felt a sharp pain in his head and his body involuntarily flew out of the storm of thoughts. No, not long afterwards, he exited the mediumship and felt that his head throbbing. He was in no hurry to leave. He meticulously packed up the materials in his short yellowish-brown hair before opening the Oreo window to let in the cold night wind to the smell of the Amantha extract and the Eye of the Spirit medication. While this happened, Klein returned to the balcony, locked the door from the inside, and wiped off all the places he had touched. When Zariel's bedroom returned to its original state, he had then held his hand to the chest and bowed towards the 3 men who were still sleeping soundly. Straightening his back, Klein put on his gloves and leaped nimbly, flipping out the Oreo window. He stood firmly, tiptoeing into the abnormally tight space. He raised the open window's vertical latch and used a tarot card to hold its bottom. With his clown abilities, he took in details and adjusted his balance. Oh, perfect balance. After a few seconds, Klein slowly... Ooh, is this song... Yes, we can play this song. After a few seconds, Klein slowly pulled back the tarot card and vertical latch suddenly stopped in place and didn't fall further. Whoosh. First, he closed the unlatched half of the window. Then he jumped over to the window with a latch. His right hand jerked inward, closing the other half of the window. The speed of action was so quick that the latch didn't fall down until there was a vibration, accurately inserting itself into the matching hole. Clang. A sound that was difficult to eliminate rang out like a strong wind slamming onto the surface of the glass. Klein knew that the 3 men in the bedroom were about to awaken. Without further ado, he jumped onto the street. For the current him, the height from the 2nd floor wouldn't pose any danger. Oh, no danger. It was just that he couldn't maintain his silence. Wait. It was just that he couldn't maintain his silence when he landed, so he didn't make any obvious noises. Klein quickly left the vicinity as well at Rose Street, but he didn't directly take a rental carriage back to the Sherwood Borough Minks Street. He turned a few corners and headed to the neighboring East Borough. It was a cold night and the wind sent a biting chill right into his bones. Klein shivered and decided that he would need an additional sweater for his future missions. He decided to buy charcoal one of the following days and let the fireplace carry out its roles. After an unknown period of time, he entered Backland's East Borough despite not having a map. He had completely relied on instinct. There were only a few gas lamps to be seen in the distance. As if it wasn't for the fact that the dark clouds had covered the crimson moon, Klein believed that many parts of the road would be pitch black. As he was walking, he suddenly saw pairs of eyes appearing in the darkness in front of him. They came stopping from a distance. They sauntered over from a vague distance away in silence. Living corpses. Klein came to a sudden halt. Is it them? He reached out of his Requiem charm and tarot cards, and he quickly activated his spirit vision. He saw the unhealthy and weak colored auras and saw the faces of the numerous figures. Those were all living people, normal living people with numb expressions, vacant eyes, and weak movements. Oh, so they're not living corpses. They were both men and women. It's almost midnight. Why are they still walking on the streets? Confused, Klein warily leaned over to one side, passing the group on the sidewalk, but soon he came across a second wave, a third wave. All of them had the same pain amidst numbness. He frowned slightly, and just as if he was about to move forward, he inquired. He suddenly heard a shout ahead. Get up, all of you, get up, you sons of bitches. The streets and parks aren't for people like you to sleep in. Klein was startled that the corresponding term poor law popped up in his mind as he understood what was going on. He had experienced the same thing himself. Phew, Klein exhaled, picked up his space, and headed for one bedroom. Yeah, he did at the end of volume 1, right? When they told him he couldn't sleep in the alleyway. Phew, Klein exhaled, picked up his pace, and headed for his one-bedroom house on Black Palm Street in the East Borough. There he slept for 2 hours. After recovering some of his spirituality, he went out again and broke a withered branch to serve as a dowsing rod. The location of Zuriel's corpse. After repeating the divination, Klein walked for a long time with the help of the short yellowish-brown hair until he arrived at the corner of East Borough where there was a sewer entrance. It took him in the sewers? Good morning, Jen. No, it's okay. We had like a 30-minute side tangent. It's okay. 12 years ago, after the Great Plague, the lowing... Oh, I told you. The plague is going to come back, and there's going to be a plague doctor. And watch that be like a pathway. It's setting it up right here. 12 years... and maybe the plague was brought upon by like a high sequence beyonder. Maybe, right? Maybe like the evil emperor brought upon the plague. 12 years ago, after the Great Plague, the Lowen Kingdom gradually built up an advanced sewer system in the capital and in one fell swoop surpassed Roselle's heritage of the Intis Republic. Moving the manhole cover out of the way, Klein held his breath and climbed down the vertical metal stairs. Since his clothes weren't specially made, he was unable to bring too many items due to the lack of pockets. He hadn't brought Quillegs oil. Oh, I don't think I can play that. Moving the manhole cover out the way, Klein held his breath and climbed down the vertical metal stairs. Since his clothes weren't specially made, he was unable to bring too many items due of the lack of pockets. He hadn't brought Quillegs oil, which he had learned about from Friar. Klein felt especially regretful for not having brought the refreshing and odor-dispelling Quillegs oil. 10 seconds later, Klein's feet touched the sticky ground. Ew. The feeling of filth caused fine goosebumps to pop up over his arms and body. However, he can only endure it and continue walking forward, venturing deeper into the empty and quiet sewer. There was a fork in the road ahead, one which was relatively hidden. A thick, pungent smell wafted over from there. Klein turned around and walked to the end where he saw a dense number of spiritually light dots and aura colors. Without needing to use a candle, he activated his spirit vision and directly saw that in the dark corner there was a rotting corpse that had been bitten to pieces. This was the exact same scene he had seen in the dream divination Squeak. The densely packed gray rats scampered in every direction, but there were almost some who stayed where they were, unwilling to leave the part with their food. It's gross. After confirming that it was Zuriel, Klein hesitated for a moment before quickly setting up a mediumship ritual. Ew. Huh. If there's nothing wrong with Ian's description, the Zuriel died only a few days ago. I should be able to get some rough information by channeling his spirit, he thought confidently. Whoosh. As the wind swirled and the wall of spirituality was set up. All the rats fled. Klein proceeded with his ritual as he had done before. The cause of Zuriel's death, the cause of Zuriel's death. As he recited the word, hold up. Oh man, I feel like the shirt is a little kind of worn out. The cause of Zuriel's death. As he recited the words, Klein's eyes turned back. His pupils in the white eyes of his disappeared. He quickly used cogitation to enter the dream. However, nothing appeared in the misty illusionary world. Klein opened his eyes, frowning silently as he made his judgment. The channeling failed. Someone had dealt with Zuriel's spirit. A Beyonder was involved in this. Ah, okay. Maybe it was Ian. The fact that someone was able to disguise as Zuriel, making other detectives unable to see through him, also proves his point. As some deliberation, Klein came to the decision it was to end this matter here and not get involved any further. Regardless, he had fulfilled the requirements of the job that he was entrusted with. I'll get Ian to call the police, he muttered as he put away the materials and removed the wall spirituality. He's like, I don't want to mess with this. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Swope. You were quick. Thank you. All right. Klein thinking I am paid enough for this. That was funny, Cammy. Chapter 225 is called Unnoticeable Guidance. Klein backed up from the fork in the path without touching Zuriel's corpse. Thump, thump, thump. Suddenly, a sound echoed in the distance through the empty sewers. Klein listened for a few seconds before decisively retreating towards the exit down the dirty concrete road that ran along the bottom sides of the sewage channel. There was no need to take the risks in matter that didn't involve him. Klein closed the iron manhole cover as he climbed out of the sewers. After ensuring that the surroundings area looked normal, he returned to his rented room in the East Borough and changed out of disguise. I'm scared. Like I'm possessed. Easy Kiki ASMR. No, that was way too low. Our voice got a little bit too low. Klein listened for a few... I lost my damn place. Suddenly, a sound echoed in the distance through the empty sewers. Klein listened for a few seconds before decisively retreating towards the exit down the dirty concrete road that ran along both sides of the sewage channel. There was no need to take risks in the matter that didn't involve him. Klein closed the iron manhole cover as he climbed out of the sewers. After ensuring that the surrounding area looked normal, he returned to his rented room in the East Borough and changed out of his disguise. Then he put on his gold-rimmed glasses, walked to another street, took a rented carriage, and rented the Sherwood Borough and the silence in the cold of 3 in the morning. However, he didn't return to the mixed street. Then, Klein made another huge detour, and only after confirming that no one was following him did he enter his house. He slept till dawn and then was woken up by the doorbell. He sat up immediately, put on his shirt, buttoned his vest, and hurried down to the first floor to open the door. And even before that, his premonition ability as a clown was already capable of naturally forming the image of the visitor in his mind. The visitor was wearing an old coat, What? Hell no, I'm out of here. Wait, he visioned this? And even before that, his premonition ability as a clown was already capable of naturally forming the image. Is he seeing like he's seeing a premonition of what's to come? So it's like, oh, you guys mentioned he basically has like auto divination. His premonition ability as a clown was already capable of naturally forming the image of the visitor in his mind. That sounds kind of broken during a fight. So it's like he just, okay. The visitor was wearing an old coat, a brown round hat, and a tattered satchel. He had bright red eyes, a delicate face, and quiet temperament. It was none other than Ian, the teenage boy who had come to entrust him with a job yesterday. Good morning, Detective Moriarty. Ian greeted him and looked around. Any progress? Yeah, I'm only asking because I happened to pass by. Yeah, that's Clown? Yeah, okay, I got it. Klein nodded seriously and said yes. Ian seemed shocked and he didn't say a word for quite a while. After a while, he stammered in surprise. Have you determined Mr. Zuriel's condition? Yes, Klein paused for a moment and said seriously, I found Zuriel's corpse. Corpse? Ian's pupils shrank as he retreated in a low tone. He wasn't too surprised that he had already expected the worst possible outcome. Klein watched silently without interjection. Sigh. Ian exhaled and warily surveyed his surroundings. Your efficiency is amazing. Can you take me to see Mr. Zuriel's body? No problem. In fact, that's what I was planning to do. Klein then thought for a moment before saying, I hope you won't mention me when you call the police. Just say that you found the corpse yourself. I believe you know how to make up a reason. Ian wasn't surprised. He knew that not every detective likes to deal with the police. In fact, except for the very famous detectives who, that's going to be him in the future, who often gave advice to the police with mutual cooperation, the rest were discriminated against, ostracized, and even extorted from. Okay. This was the current situation of the Lone Kingdom. Alright, Ian readily agreed. Considering that they were entering the sewers, Klein changed into a set of clothes worn by the common working class, put on a deer hunting cap, and took a lantern with him. Both of them took the public carriage to the East Borough. They walked for half an hour to reach the remote sewer entrance under the watchful gazes filled with the numbness and malicious intent. How did you find it? Ian asked, half surprised and half curious, as he watched KLEIN lift the manhole cover and climb down. KLEIN focused on the area beneath him and answered casually. Skillful training, which includes many techniques and reasoning, investigation, tracking, and interrogation. Ian followed him into the sewers. He nodded without looking disgusted. You seem to have received very professional training. KLEIN didn't answer him directly. He held the already lit lantern and led Ian to the fork in the pathway, where they arrived at the gloomy corner. Watch him be gone. He narrowed his eyes as he approached. More of Zariel's body was missing now. More of Zariel's body was missing now when he compared to the previous night. He was missing an arm and half of his ribs. That's gross. That's not something a rat. Oh, it wasn't a rat. That's not something a rat can do. KLEIN muttered to himself and didn't inform Ian of this. Ah, there's a beyonder, or like a half crazy one, right? Someone that like partially went insane. With the help of lantern's light, Ian was able to clearly see the corpse's appearance. He squatted down suddenly, vomited, and gradually vomited yellow-green. Why is it gotta be specific on the color, my guy? No, cuttlefish. That's gross, bro. You don't even gotta be that specific. He squatted down suddenly, vomited, and gradually vomited yellow-green bile. KLEIN took out the Quelix oil he prepared, unscrewed the cap. He bent over to the place of the mouth close to Ian's nose. Ian's eyes lit up and he calmed down. Oh, he's helping him. Nearly 20 seconds later, he weakly whispered, "Thank you." He stood up slowly and examined the mutilated corpse for a few times. I can confirm that this is Detective Zariel. My condolences, KLEIN replied out of politeness. I suggest you call the police. Okay, Ian nodded indiscriminately as he followed KLEIN back to the surface. At that moment, KLEIN clasped his hands. Ah, that's what I do. Like, all right, guys, we're reading Lord of the Mysteries today. I lost my place. Oh, KLEIN clasped his hands. This is the end of my mission. As for what you asked, did I even update my chapter? I did not update my chapter. Thank you. Thank you, Lee. This is the end of my mission. As for what should be done after this, that is up to you. Ian fell silent for a few seconds. I still owe you 3 matters. You can tell me now. Actually, I can only think of one at the moment. KLEIN answered frankly. I want to know where I can go get a gun and bullets without needing a full class weapon permit. Damn. Ian spoke almost without thinking. He knows. Ian spoke almost without thinking. Go to Braveheart's bar at Iron Gate Street and Backland Bridge District. Find Kaspar's Kalinin. Tell him old geezer in. He's an old geezer. Bro's video turned into audiobook. You know what? I had to change my videos because I put audiobook in the beginning because I didn't know why. And some dude commented like, "Man, this isn't an audiobook. This is a reaction." I'm like, "Ooh, you're right. I should change that." I feel bad, dude, because the earlier videos had the word audiobook. Yeah, so he is getting his gun. I wonder if he's gonna be using like a revolver the whole time. I don't know. I can see him like dual wielding a revolver in the future, and then he like switches out to his cards and then like close melee when it becomes a higher sequence. I don't know. I really think Beast Tamer might be a sequence pathway one day, and maybe he's gonna have like a familiar fight alongside him. That'd be sick. KLEIN is an honorary American. Yeah, he's like, "Yeehaw!" He's like, "I'm going guns and blading, guys." Okay, I'll stop. That was such a bad American accent. I can just imagine going KLEIN go, "Yeehaw! Got my guns. Let's go, bro. Oh, we got this. We have an investigation. Let's go, dude." Okay, I'll stop. That was so immersive breaking. I'm sorry. That was super fucking cringe. I will stop that. That was such a bad American accent. I will stop. I have dishonored my fellow Americans. Actually, I can only think of one at the moment. KLEIN answered frankly. I just reread this. What sequence number you think Beast Tamer? And if it is a Beast Tamer, it would be the first high sequence one. It would be the first high sequence one. It would be like sequence 4 or something. Like once you're in the once you get to high sequence, that's when I say it happened. All right, let's talk about the other 2 matters in the future. I have a feeling that we'll meet again. KLEIN deliberately nodded casually. Ian gave him a look but didn't say anything. The two split up and headed down different streets in the East Borough. The secluded spot once again regained its silence. After walking for a while, KLEIN suddenly turned around and retracted his steps. He then hid himself in a secluded corner, peeking at the entrance of the sewer. After waiting for 2 or 3 minutes, he saw Ian return suddenly as he looked around warily. KLEIN withdrew his gaze in a timely manner, leaned his back against the wall, and listened. Thank you, guys. There's like 30 of you guys here. Thank you. What happens? I don't know. Maybe he summons one? Yeah, Ian knows a weapon dealer. It's like Persona. He went to the weapon shop. KLEIN withdrew his gaze in a timely manner, leaned back against the wall, and listened. He heard the scraping sounds of the manhole covering being removed and heard someone climbing down. Carefully poking his head out, KLEIN discovered that Ian had re-entered the sewers. Was there a clue or something on Zuriel's body? Indeed, this matter goes deeper than it seems. He's like, nah, bro, just leave. You ain't paid enough for this. He nodded thoughtfully. Having satisfied his curiosity, KLEIN decided to leave for real and planned to seek out Casper's 2 days later. At tea time, Viscount Glaint was in his home situated in Emperor's Borough. Wait. I forgot who... Wait, don't tell me. I forgot who's Viscount Glaint. Isn't he from Tingen? Are we back in Tingen? No. Viscount... Oh, I see who. Okay. It's the friend, right? At tea time, Viscount Glaint was in the home situated in Emperor's Borough. The door to the study was tightly shut, separated by the 4 people inside from the participating guests in the salon outside. Xio, Force, this is the reward the 2 of you deserve. Dressed in a pale yellow lace dress, Audrey pushed a bulging envelope across the desk to the 2 ladies sitting opposite her. Xio wanted to say something polite, but her hand had reached for the envelope faster than her mouth. Feeling the weight of the money, she could only say sincerely, Miss Audrey, thank you for your generosity. Your honesty makes you look even more beautiful. He's like, give me more money. Audrey's friend. Yeah, it's Audrey's friend. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, it was a uniform gray paper money with black stripes. The stack was thick and exuded a special smell of ink, one that left one feeling refreshed. 10 pounds. Xio took one note out and checked its face value. Besides her Force, who appeared lazy and unbothered by money, he also leaned over. This is at least observing the thickness. Xio tried to figure out how many notes there was. She couldn't help but exchange looks with Force and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. This was obviously a lot more than they had imagined. Audrey smiled faintly and said, a total of 800 pounds. Decide how you will split the money between the 2 of you. I'm very sorry that this matter have placed you in danger. 800 pounds? No, there's no need to apologize. Even if we had to do it again and knew of the possible consequences, I would still accept the request. Even if it's divided evenly with my saving, it's enough to buy the potion formula for Sheriff Xio, who was slightly taller than 150 centimeters. I do not know what that is in freedom units. 5 feet? Maybe? Right? Stared blankly at the notes in the envelope, wishing she could pull them all out and count them over and over again. She believed that the generous and beautiful Miss Audrey wouldn't pay them any less. But what if she had made a mistake counting? Everyone makes mistakes at times. Xio raised her right hand, paused for a few seconds, then suddenly lowered it. The corners of For's lips couldn't help but rise as she said wistfully, This is even more than royalties I've received from my Stormwind Mountain villa so far. Should I praise Miss Audrey or laugh at the poverty of an author? She added suddenly. Viscount Glaint, who was sitting on the sofa, was also a little envious, but it wasn't directed at Xio or Force. As a Viscount with a fairly good finance situation, 800 pounds wasn't a large sum. Not a large small. Wait, she is so small? 4'9"? Oh, she's 4'9". Okay. I lost my place. As a Viscount. Viscount is a title, not his name? Oh, that's his, like, maiden name? Or family name, right? As a Viscount with a fairly good finance situation, 800 pounds wasn't a large sum. What he envied was Audrey's ability to hand out money without feeling the slightest burden. Ahem. Viscount Glaint cleared his throat. If you can get the formula for apothecary, I will also provide you with substantial payment. We'll do our best, Xio answered without any hesitation. Then she looked at Audrey. We've recently come into contact with someone who's suspected to be from the Psychology Alchemist and will soon have clues regarding the spectator potion you're looking for. Xio, I'm already at sequence 8, far stronger than you. Audrey smiled in a reserved manner as she said, I'm looking forward to it. Ah, look at her acting. Look at that. Look at that. Viscount is a title rank. Oh, thank you guys. I like your name. Why not? Thank you, Rivero. I got you guys. So it's a title. Title/rank. Got it. I'm looking forward to it. With that said, the 4 began chatting up 4. Oh, Audrey, Xio, Force, and Glaint. Okay, so that's the 4 of them. Suddenly, Xio... I almost skipped the line. With that said, the 4 began chanting about various rumors among the Beyonder circles while following Audrey's example, finding books they wished to read. Suddenly, Xio's eyes lit up as she saw 2 hardcover books. History of the Lowen Kingdom's Aristocracy and the Study of the Coat of Arms. Meanwhile, Force also found a book that interested her, Geography and People of the Phasic Empire and Traveling of the Northern Continent. That's where Tengen and Backland is, right? The northern continent. Viscount is nobility. Got it. Yeah, they're all like high nobles, right? Glate nodded without much care. Oh wait, I lied. I skipped the line. I skipped the sentence. Honorable Viscount Glate, may I borrow these 2 books? I'll return them soon. Xio looked pleadingly at the owner of the study. Glate nodded without much care. No problem. As his response, Forrest hurriedly made a wow, my voice. At his response, Forrest hurriedly made a request as well as similarly obtained his approval. The corners of Audrey's mouth curved into a faint smile as she witnessed all of this. She looked modestly to the side, pretending to be looking for a book. As a qualified spectator who had just advanced, she had accurately grasped Xio's and Forrest's performance in a certain domain after being in contact with them multiple times. Thus, she had made arrangements in advance without anyone realizing it. Letting oh my god, I messed up my words. Letting the one being guided feel like it was done out of their own will was a manifestation of the powers of the spectator. Like she's leading them on, right? To give like the illusion of that, right? In the evening, Xio was curled up on the sofa in front of the fireplace, reading the history of the Lowen's kingdom aristocracy under the gas lamp's illumination. 4 had gone for a gathering meant for authors. After reading for quite a while, Xio suddenly felt something strange about the hardback cover. So she carefully examined it and found an interlayer where an ancient piece of paper was hidden inside. The front side of the paper was covered with the special symbols created by the Empire Roselle, and the back was a paragraph written in ancient Hermes. Viscount Glaine's ancestors deciphered some of Emperor Roselle's special symbols. Xio was suddenly excited. She struggled to decipher the ancient Hermes as she muttered silently. The fools that doesn't belong... Oh! Audrey put that in there! She struggled to decipher the ancient Hermes as she muttered silently. What the fuck? The fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler above the great fog, the king of yellow and black who wields good luck. That was smooth as fuck. Wait, what was... I have a question about... Wait, hold up. I have a quick theory, because we were talking about Beast Tamer. Let me just do the timestamp so I don't forget. Okay, I want to get this off my chest. You know? We called something in Volume 1. I want to see if we might call something in Volume 2, since he's currently a clown. Since KLEIN is currently digesting the clown potion. I believe the... What was the circus? It was like a moving circus, right? They keep going from location to location. I have a strong assumption that everybody in that circus trope, the one that was moving in like the beginning of the series, are all seer beyonders. Like, I believe that whole circus is composed of only people on the seer pathway. I believe that. I'm betting my money on it, because like Cuttlefish is really good. Cooking time, hell yeah. Look, here we go. Cuttlefish is really good at like building up the narrative, and like he's really good at like foreshadowing things, right? Like one coincidence, two coincidences. I'm not falling for these coincidences. I'm betting my money on this whole like circus trope is just like a group of seer beyonders that are trying to digest whatever potion they're on. Cause like it's such a coincidence that the one that divined him just happened to be a sequence 9 beyonder. Though no, we don't know if they were one. It's presumed. I'm presuming. Like it just so happens to be that the pathway KLEIN chose was sequence 9 seer, right? And all of a sudden, the one that gave him a really good divination was a beast tamer. And remember what the beast tamer... Wow, this is like 200 chapters ago. You think that the circus is a secret order? Yes, I believe is a... I believe the... Thank you, that's in better words then. I believe that the circus trope is a specific secret order of only seers. Right? And because I think seer is a stronger pathway than we don't know yet. I believe they, like, once we're high sequences, they can choose and match from any. You know how they said you have to have a compatible pathway? I think seer can compose. No, I think seer can pick from all 22 pathways. Not just like one or the other. I believe they can go Everywhere they want. That, because remember what the Beast Tamer said? I'm sorry, I'm making blurry eyes so I don't get spoiled, just in case there is a spoiler, somebody confirms or does not confirm. Because remember what the Beast Tamer told KLEIN? Oh, I'm really good at divinations. Why the heck would a Beast Tamer be really good at divinations? Because the Beast Tamer digested the seer potion, and that's why they're really good at divining, because they're still following their seer principles. Don't you think it would be a bit too obvious in that case, and the Nighthawks and the other circuses would find them? No, because they're... No. Cammy's trying to throw me off the scent. No, because remember what the Church of Evernight does? They're hiding the acting method, so they wouldn't even know. They're probably so good at acting and concealing their presence that they never once suspected them. Oh my god, not only that, going back to the Secret Order, I believe that Circus Trope is the secret organization that Roselle has brought up, like, how many times? Like 2-3 times. Remember how KLEIN was, holy shit, bro, can you just name drop him? Nah, he didn't want to name drop him. But I bet you it was a circus. Maybe like the dude, maybe whoever's like a sequence 1 person in that circus trope has like a really good way to conceal everybody's beyond their abilities that nobody ever picked it up. Easy is cooking a full banquet right now. Ship it, clip to send it. Watch that be the case. Because I already know. It's not even a hint. He's gonna run into that Beast Tamer one day. Because remember how they were in Tinkin in Volume 1. Watch them somehow end up in Backland. I already, like, Volume 1 ended so beautifully when he was at the circus. Ellie's barking. Ellie! Come here! I'm cooking! Come here! I'm cooking a good theory. Maybe you're right or maybe you're wrong. We don't know. Thank you, Romero. I will neither confirm or deny it. Hold on, let him cook. I believe that. It's a nice theory. It's a really damn good theory that I called it. Well, maybe those age poorly. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, let's go to the next chapter. Okay, let's go straight to the next chapter. All right. And now we are back to chapter 222. Why is she terrified? Oh, I see why you wanted me to get to the next chapter. Xio is probably gonna run into KLEIN Moretti. Oh, whoa, my bad, not KLEIN Moretti. Sherlock Moriarty. I like it. All right. I like it. I'm ready for this. You already read the whole chapter in the amount of time it took? Yeah, in the amount of time that we had that side tangent, you read the whole thing? I got you. Updating chapter title. Everything's already updated. Okay. Chapter 222. Wow, I'm studying my words. Chapter 226 was the Terrified Xio. Sherwood Borough, 15 Mink Street. A satiated KLEIN sat in a reclining chair in the living room, besides the fireplace burning with charcoal. In a warm environment akin to summer, KLEIN wore a white shirt, black vest, and thin trousers while having a newspaper spread open in front of him. As he flipped through the section with the most ads, a new type of transportation vehicle is an urgent need for investments details to be discussed in person. KLEIN read the advertisement twice before picking up a pencil from a small, dark red table to his side and circled the message. If there was no commissions tomorrow or the day after, he planned on seeing if this so-called new type of transportation vehicle had any investment value. Such matters were important to divine since there was a lack of sufficient information. I hope it's a product of similar to a bicycle. KLEIN mumbled to himself. Oh, bikes. Yeah, there are no bikes. It's just been horses. I hope it's a product similar to a bicycle. KLEIN mumbled to himself before suddenly hearing an illusionary prayer echo in his ears. Holy shit, it's Xio. Who is it? Miss Justice, Minister Hangman's son, or some clerk at Backland Bank is copying my passcode. Thoughts flashed through KLEIN's mind as he put down the newspaper, returned to his bedroom, and locked the door behind him. Taking 4 steps counterclockwise, he entered the world above the gray fog. He saw that the side of the fools... I feel the music's not... If the music is too loud, let me know. He saw that to the side of the full seat and by the edge of the ancient modeled bronze table was a clear and bright brilliance that emitted waves of radiance. The experienced KLEIN calmly sat down and emanated his spirituality, touching the light ripples of light in response to the prayer. The scene in front of his eyes suddenly changed. It was a blurry silhouette of a petite woman in a knight's training uniform curling up on it. She's not copying my passcode. She's reading a piece of paper. KLEIN suddenly realized the reason for this. She should be one of the 2 Beyonders that Miss Justice mentioned that required my vetting. After nearly 20 seconds of silence, KLEIN didn't give any any form of formal response. He planned on taking the next step deep at night. He would then test her reaction, attitude, and way of handling things to test her personality and abilities. Of course, he would absolutely not force others to join the Terror Club, the fool that doesn't belong to this era. Xio, who would just finished chanting an ancient Hermes sentence, froze for a few seconds. Then she suddenly straightened her back and sat up straight. This seems to be an honorary name of a hidden existence. She realized this is horror. Furthermore, her knowledge and mysticism and various rumors she had heard told her that once someone recited the full honorary name of a hidden existence, it would often attract the attention of said existence. The consequences, oh my god, I can't read. The consequences of such attention was mostly misinformation, or could even be described as tragic. Quite a few of those hidden beings were the incarnations of evil gods and devils. For everybody's just misunderstanding him, man. He's just an IT guy, like trying to get back to his like home world, man. Like that's it. He's not an evil dude. Furthermore, I recited an ancient Hermes completely unprotected. I'm so dumb. Why did I focus so much effort in identifying the sentence and actually read in my head? Xio looked around in horror, terrified that an indescribable monster would suddenly appear in her house. The sofa, tea table, cupboard, dining tables, chairs, oils, paintings, and other items were all reflected in her eyes without any changes. After nearly a minute of heightened vigilance, Xio relaxed a little and comforted herself. Don't worry, don't be afraid. I just said the honorable name and didn't follow up with a prayer. This is an incomplete ceremony, so it shouldn't attract any attention about that. Moreover, there's a good chance that the name might have been translated by the owner of the paper based on the special symbols left behind by Emperor Rizal. It might not be correct, but I heard that if evil gods or devils generate interest, they would still provide a response even if the ceremony is incomplete. I'm so stupid, really. As she thought over the matter, Xio's face scrunched up into a grimace. She felt that she had made a grave mistake. After waiting for a few more minutes, she slowly exhaled as she puffed out her cheeks when she realized that there was no obvious response. She stuffed a piece of paper back into the history of the Lowen Kingdom's aristocracy. As she entered the bathroom with a heavy heart, she turned on the faucet and tried to use the cold water to clear her head. Splash. As nearly transparent water flowed down, Xio hunched her back and reached out her palm to cup some water. Sorry, I had a slight burp. For context, saying random entities' honorific names is just suicide with extra steps most of the time. Just like with the guy that saw the true creator, right? Remember how like he just died, right? Because he looked at God or looked at a higher entity. I assume it's like that. Oh, I didn't even read what you unsaid, Nee. It's okay. No, we're good. Okay, I assume it's like that, right? It's, or like, you know how like when KLEIN looked at the blazing sun, right? The eternal blazing sun. I assume it's like that. Like you just don't do that and drop your guard, right? Because it just leads to death. Got it. Okay. She stomped on the ground and with a push of her hand, she shot backwards, turning her body halfway around and slamming the entity with her elbow. Pow. Oh, wait. I skipped a line. I skipped like 2 sentences. Just as she was about to dab the cold water in her face, she spotted a long, slightly curly brown hair in the mirror through the corner of her eyes. As for her, she had shoulder-length, unkempt yellow hair, so it wasn't her hair. Suddenly, Xio's hair stood on end. She stomped on the ground, and with a push of her hand, she shot backwards, turning her body halfway around and slamming the entity with her elbow. Pow! She leaned against a warm body, causing the other party to let out a familiar scream before falling to the ground. Is it Audrey? Or Force? Xio stopped and KLEIN? No, it's not him. Xio stopped any subsequent actions and looked at her good friend who was hugging her stomach in pain, tears in her eyes. The corners of her mouth twitched without realizing if she said, Force, when did you get back? Oh, she hit Force. Got it. Force didn't reply immediately. It took her quite a while to get over the pain. As she slowly stood up using the wall as support, she grumbled, I just got back, Xio. Are you nuts? Why did you tag me without even looking clearly? And you hit me so hard. Where did you come in from? Xio asked awkwardly. Through the bathroom window. Why? Is there a problem? As an apprentice, it's normal to not bring a key with me, Force replied matter of factly. Xio straightened her back and pushed away all responsibility. Then why didn't you go through the door? You really gave me a fright just now. Force blinked her eyes and said, if that's the case, I'll have to make one big round. That's too troublesome. I'm used to walking in a straight line. She paused as she asked suspiciously, however, wasn't your reaction a bit too much? Xio struggled for 3 seconds, choosing between losing her dignity or losing her life. Before answering honestly, it's because I made a mistake, a fatal mistake. What mistake? Force asked, rubbing her belly as she felt puzzled and Concerned, Xio hurriedly recounted the whole story of how she had discovered the interlayer in the book's cover and found an old piece of paper in it. Then she had accidentally recited the suspected incantation Ancient Hermes silently. What she had recited seems to contain the honorable name of some hidden existence. Where's your brain? It should be fine. The ceremony wasn't complete, and who knows if it's real or fake. Forrest looked around, and for some baffling reason, she felt a chill. She followed Xio back to the living room and saw the yellowish sheet of paper as well as Roselle's special... Wow, I'm slurring my words. Hey guys. Not really. Saying an entity's honorific name establishes a connection with it. If it's an evil deity, then they can directly curse you, do something. Oh, like the Hidden Sage. As Xio says in this chapter, saying an honorific name establishes a connection brings their attention to you. God. God damn, that's scary. Okay. She followed Xio back to the living room and saw the yellow sheet of paper as well as Roselle's special symbols and the sentence that was written in Ancient Hermes. After a quick glance, Forrest, the professional researcher in mysticism, nodded and said, "Is not any of the evil gods, devils, or secret existences that I know of. It should be fine. Furthermore, nothing has happened up until now. That means that everything should be fine." Seeing Xio relax, she thought of the pain in her stomach, so she deliberately added maliciously, "Of course, if something were to really happen, there's no way we can rescue ourselves without our meager abilities." Xio's face paled as she blurted out, "Forrest, let's sleep together tonight. Forget it, I'll just sleep on my own." The music is a little bit loud on my end. Let me lower it a bit. Forrest pricked up. Wait, let's sleep together. I'll just sleep on my own. Forrest picked up her brows and chuckled. "All right, in fact, you don't have to worry about it. Think about it. I hear strange murmurs whenever there's a full moon, but I don't see any signs of me going mad or losing control. So there's something going on with the red moon? Well, we should study the other 3 books. If there's the same pieces of paper, the same incantations, it means that it's very likely to be a prank from Viscount KLEIN." The duo hurriedly flipped through the study of the coat of arms and the other books and checked them carefully, but they didn't find anything else out of the ordinary. Xio looked at Forrest. When she looked back at her, turned the mood somber again. Should we sneak into St. Samuel's Cathedral nave tonight?" Xio came up with an inspired suggestion. That was the headquarters of the Church of the Evernight Goddess in Backland Diocese. Why not St. Erland Cathedral? "I don't think Evernight Goddess will protect me," Forrest subconsciously replied. That was the headquarters of the Church of God of Seaman Machinery, which was located in the St. George Borough, adjacent to many huge factories in the southeast. The 2 ladies with different faiths fell silent again, and after a while, Forrest sat and said, and that would make us end up being targeted by the Nighthawks or the Machinery Hive Mind. That might be the goal of the hidden existence. All right, go to sleep. We'll know the answer tomorrow morning. If nothing happens by then, it means that it'll really be okay. In the middle of the night, the waxing crimson moon was obscured by clouds, and the stars were barely visible in the sky above Backland. KLEIN instinctively woke up, lifted his blanket, got off the bed, and entered the world above the gray fog. He sat down on the high-backed chair that belonged to the fool. He planned on responding to Miss Justice's companion and proceed with the examination process. At that moment, he suddenly had a new idea. Perhaps he could try and see if he could pull her into the world above the gray fog under the present circumstances. The young lady must have fallen asleep, and even if I succeed, she would probably treat it as a dream that appears clearer than usual. If I succeed, I can serve the connection in a timely manner to prevent her from seeing her surroundings clearly. After repeatedly deliberating over the matter, KLEIN stretched out his hand and tapped at the rippling ring of light to form a connection with it. Okay. Suddenly, KLEIN felt his spirituality surge out of unstoppable manner, causing the mysterious space above the gray fog to tremble slightly. Just when KLEIN thought that his spirituality would be completely drained, everything calmed down. A blurry, distorted figure appeared at the edge of the long bronze table. In her reverie, Xio opened her eyes sleepily and saw the endless fog. She's here? That's so trippy, dude. In her reverie, Xio opened her eyes sleepily and saw the endless fog in the ancient high-back chair and a dark figure watching her. KLEIN was overjoyed and immediately severed the connection according to his plan. The hazy, petite figure disappeared, but with the grayish white mist, a crimson illusionary star appeared. Oh! So he established a connection. So that's why there's a... Wait, it's different colored. But within the grayish white mist... Oh, a crimson illusionary star appeared. Okay, I thought it was like a grayish white star. No, it's still the crimson star. KLEIN looked at this scene and confirmed one thing. As long as someone chanted his name, he would be able to pull that person into the world above the gray fog. The crimson star was a symbol of a stable connection. Ah, that's sick. However, there are certain limitations. With my current strength at most, I can establish another connection. Based on my previous experiences, my current spirituality can only pull in beyonders who are a sequence higher than me, and it won't necessarily be a success. It's just a preliminary judgment, so it shouldn't be a problem. If someone at the same sequence as me or lower, KLEIN thought, feeling satisfied. There was no need for him to respond. His attempt was already enough. Xio sat up in her sleep. She had been worrying about the potential dangers of chanting an honorary name the entire time. Not long after she fell asleep, she dreamed of the mysterious space and a gray fog figure looking down on her above. The dream was so clear that Xio felt afraid. Ah, look at that. She looked at the sleeping force besides her and thought with a tremble, is it a nightmare caused by fear, or is it because of the attention I garnered from the hidden existence resulting in being haunted by evil spirits? She's overthinking it. Yes, there's going to be a gathering of Beyonders tomorrow night. In addition to buying the formula, I need to find a person who is good at exercising evil spirits to purify myself. That's funny. I'm late, and I think you've reached our last chapter for today, Nightwalker. I am so sorry. I know. Well, here, let me update my timestamp. All right. Last chapter of the day. Why did I say last like that? Chapter 227 is called Inventor Leppard. Sitting... I have to cough, I'm sorry. Sitting at his own Sitting at his own dining table on a foggy morning, KLEIN broke up his specially bought wheat bread and soaked it in milk, improving the way he ate it. Although his body had changed a long time ago, his pursuit and obsession with delicacies was engraved into his soul. He was completely unable to adapt to the Lowen Kingdom's monotonous and repetitive style of breakfast. He could only try his best at experimenting. He tried not to limit himself to toast, bread, bacon, sausages, and butter. That sounds like an amazing breakfast. He tried hard to expand the boundaries and improve the way he ate. For example, his recipes had new additions such as pork-filled pastries from the south, feta potted noodles, and roasted corn pastries. Caviar from the Phasic Empire isn't bad either, but it's too expensive. It's only suitable for formal meals. KLEIN scooped up a small piece of wheat bread he had softened and put it in his mouth. Just by chewing it a little, he could feel the intertwining flavors of milk with the fragrances of wheat. The aftertaste of bread was even sweeter. After breakfast, KLEIN put down his cutlery, but he was in no hurry to tidy up the tables. He picked up the newspapers and began to read. I'll do a divination in a while. If there's nothing else to do, I'll pay Mr. Leppard a visit at St. George's Borough, Surrey Street, and see if any new transportation vehicles is worth investing in. Backland is really big. Every borough is almost the size of... Damn, it's big! Every borough is almost the size of Tingen City. The East Borough is especially ridiculous. It's at least twice as large. Damn, that's big. The easiest and most economical way... That was a big comment. I got you guys. I'll read them right now. I got you. The easiest and most economical way to travel is to walk, followed by the steam metro. Before walking again is just quite a waste of time. KLEIN's mind wandered oh my god, I cannot read. KLEIN's mind wandered aimlessly. Backland's public horse carriage system was rather similar to Tingen's. The price was about the same, but the only problem was that most of them were confined to a single borough. If one wants to go from Sherwood to St. George, a few transfers were needed, and that would naturally raise the price. Such a situation made the prospects of a new transportation vehicle very alluring. Knock, knock. At that moment, knocks at the door sounded. It was as loud as the pounding of a hammer. Oh, shit. Who is it? Don't they know how to ring a doorbell? He muttered a few words. Is it the cops? The police? He muttered a few words, straightening his collar, walked to the door, and pulled it open. In front of him was Ian. In front of him was a familiar face. It was the Highlander man who had chased Ian on the street metro. Ah, I see what's going on. We miscalculated. One more chat. I got you. We can do one more. I still got like 30 minutes. In front of him was a familiar face. It was a Highlander man. Let me lock in. In front of him was a familiar face. It was a Highlander man who had chased Ian at the steam metro. His skin was dark, his eye sockets receded, and he was lean and hardly man. According to Klein's mediumship results, the man name was Mersalot. Oh, Mersalot, an executioner of the Zamanger gang, who was almost equal to the boss. Excuse me, who are they looking for? Do you have a commission to entrust with me? Klein deliberately acted somewhat confused. Mersalot was wearing a black coat and a pompous silk hat, but he didn't look anything like a gentleman at all. He coldly sized Klein up and then he asked Lowen with a thick Highlander accent, "Are you Detective Sherlock Moriarty?" "Yes," Klein replied, short and sweet. Mersalot nodded his head stiffly. "I want to hire you to find someone." "What, I want you to find the same guy?" "Oh, find Ian. We can talk about the exact situation inside." Klein prevented himself from acting odd in any way. Mersalot shook his head coldly. "There's no need." After saying that, his eyes suddenly became sharp. "The person I'm looking for is called Ian. Ian Wright. He has a pair of bright red eyes, maybe 15 or 16. He likes to wear a brown old coat and round hat of the same color. I believe you know him." Klein let out a soft chuckle. "I don't know what you're talking about." Mersalot seemed to ignore Klein's denial. "He's a thief who has stolen an important item from me. If you can find him, you'll get paid 10 pounds. Sign me up, bro. "You've provided too few clues." Klein made up an excuse. 30 pounds, Mersalot made a new offer. Klein glanced at him and said, "No, this is against my principle of confidentiality." 50 pounds, Mersalot replied coldly. "I'm sorry, I cannot accept this mission." Klein was startled for 2 seconds, but in the end, he still chose to reject the request. Mersalot studied him slowly for a few seconds as his eyes slowly turned cold and fierce. He didn't offer a new price, nor did he politely bid farewell. Oh, sounds like a fight. He turned around abruptly and walked. Oh, no, it's over. He didn't offer a new price, nor did he politely bid farewell. He turned around abruptly and walked quickly to the end of the street. "This gang has pretty good intelligence. They actually know that Ian had come to me once." Klein secretly sighed, full of emotion, but he didn't. He's like, "I'm in too deep." But he didn't feel too much anxiety or fear. "After all, I'm someone who once directly faced the son of an evil god." Oh, you see, Romero? He was an evil god. You're telling me what? You said what god is evil? You're like, who would have thunk? He said, look, even Klein said it himself. "After all, I'm someone who once directly faced the son of an evil god, the true creator, or the fallen creator, although it was separated by a belly." Damn, dude, that shit was crazy, dude. Man, I hope the anime is like peak. I'm praying to Mr. Fool, bro. I am praying to the true creator that anime does that fight justice. Holy schmackaroo. I'm excited. He began flipping a coin to decide whether or not he was going out today. The answer was positive, so go out. St. George Borough, Surrey Street. Having transferred from a tracked public carriage to the steam metro before transferring a trackless carriage, Klein finally arrived at the destination, spending a total of 11 pence. Just after he unlined the carriage, he discovered that a drizzle had already started. It's raining. That's setting the mood. It's all about perspective to my true creator, is the one and only God other than Mr. Fool. He's a true creator. Ignore Romero. He's corrupted. That's why he's saying, like, how dare you? He's like, blasphemy, dude. I'm interested in the opening. I really hope it's a good opening. I'm excited. St. George Borough, Surrey Street. Having transferred. Oh wait, I gotta lock in. I got like 25 minutes. Having transferred from a tracked public carriage to the steam metro before transferring to a trackless carriage, Klein finally arrived at the destination before spending a total of 11 pence. Just after he aligned the carriage, he discovered that a drizzle had already started, but he hadn't brought an umbrella. According to the newspapers and magazines, this is a daily occurrence in Backland. The reason why hats are popular is that ladies and gentlemen don't carry umbrellas all the time. Klein pressed down on his half-top hat and briskly ran outside Unit 9, and he used the eaves to shield himself from the rain. Eaves? I don't know what that said. He brushed off the obvious water droplets from his body and rang the doorbell. However, he didn't hear any chuku sounds or tinkling sounds. Is the doorbell broken? Ah, it's the gang. Klein was just about to raise his hand to knock when he suddenly saw footsteps approaching from afar. The image of the person naturally appeared in his mind. It was a tall, thin man with black hair and blue eyes. He was in his 30s and dressed in a grayish-blue worker attire, but he had appeared gentle and refined. Creak. The door opened. The gentleman rubbed his forehead and asked, "May I know who are you looking for? Is there something?" Klein took off his hat and bowed slightly. "I'm here to find Mr. Leppard. I'm interested in a new transportation vehicle." The gentleman's eyes suddenly lit up. "I'm Leppard. Please come in." Oh, okay. He turned to the side and allowed Klein entry. However, there was no coat rack in the foyer. Klein could only lean his cane and not take off his coat. He followed Leppard into the living room. It had to be said that the gentleman's house was very messy. On the coffee table at the living room alone were many mechanical objects such as wrenches, bearings, and screwdrivers. How much do you wish to invest? Alright, would you like some coffee or black tea? It seems I'm out of black tea, Leppard blurted out. This gentleman is a bit straightforward and doesn't seem to be very good at interpersonal relationships. A thought flashed through Klein's mind and he changed the words he planned on saying. He went straight to the point. I've to see your new transportation vehicle before I make a decision. I can't make any promises without understanding anything. As he spoke, he looked around inside a triangular sacred emblem hanging on the wall. This was the symbol of the god of steam and machinery, and the solid triangle was filled with symbols such as steam, gears, and levers. Leppard wasn't irritated by Klein's straightforwardness. He merely said, I'll show you. As soon as he said that, he slapped his head. I almost forgot. We have to sign a non-disclosure agreement to ensure that you don't steal my invention. Mr. Leppard, you don't have a very good memory either. Klein smiled and said, that wouldn't be... Oh, just like Dunn Smith. That wouldn't be an issue. After signing the simple contract, Leppard led Klein into a room that seemed like an activity room. He had knocked through the neighboring guest room and basement, making it such a wider and spacious. The ground was littered with components, and a rough object that was half the height of a man that resembled a carriage stood in the center. In addition to that, the line of the doorbell was connected there and was cleverly constructed. As long as someone pulled the rope, a steel ball would pop out from the mechanism, allowing it to roll along the special track before coiling with the object in the center to produce a clanging sound. The sound certainly wasn't too loud, but it was enough to rouse Leppard, who was engrossed in machinery. Is the music too loud? I'm gonna turn it down just a smidge again. Is that the new form of transportation you invented? Klein pointed to the curved object in the middle of the room. Yes, I invented it based on Emperor Rosal's imagination. He replied with a fervent look in his eyes. Emperor Rosal's imagination. Klein asked in surprise. Leppard explained in a tone of adoration. Emperor Rosal left behind a number of manuscripts in which he drew his vision of machines of the future. He was an outstanding genius. No, a master. Many things have already been turned into reality. Heck, this manuscript is kept in the Church of the God, Steam and Machinery. So he's like Leonardo da Vinci? Like, what's going on here, dude? There's no way for non-pious believers to borrow them. Emperor, are you still leaving no stones unturned for others? Klein's mouth twitched, almost unable to maintain his smile. Describe it in detail. He changed the subject. Leppard led Klein to the crude metallic objects and opened the door. This is a transportation tool that doesn't need a horse. The driver sits in the front left seat, continuously stepping on the pedals. Oh, it's a bike. Through the levers and a chain connecting to the four wheels, allowing the vehicle to roll forward. And on the wheels, they use inflated rubber, which can make the journey smooth. It's a bike. So it's a human power. Oh, it's a car. So it's a human-powered car. Klein... Oh, so it's like a big bike. It's like a wagon. Okay. So it's a human-powered car. Klein couldn't help but lampoon. He said with some deliberation, with such a huge carriage and at least 4 passengers, it would be impossible to travel that far just by relying on a human strength alone. That's exactly my next goal, to reduce the weight and expand the lever a few times. However, my financial situation isn't at its best. I can't fund any more attempts. Leppard looked hopefully at Klein. Why not consider other methods? He's like, just make it small. Such as using steam as a driving force. Klein slowly organized his words. Leppard shook his head. There have been people who have invented that, but it's a very huge body, making it difficult to drive it along many streets. That was exactly what Klein was waiting for. Then why don't you just do something simpler? Yeah, like he just gave away the bike. Then why don't you just do something simpler? For example, I have only 2 wheels with only 1 person without an outer shell. You mean something like a bicycle? Leppard asked in thought. Rosel's manuscript had that. Klein nodded heavily. Yes, those bicycles, which other people have invented, are very practical. Simplifying this seems like it might work. He's like, oh, it doesn't work. It will really seem difficult, but why would you buy it? Leppard said it to himself. Klein didn't hesitate to provide him with a direction. He's like, I have good balance. Klein didn't hesitate to provide him with a direction. The postman, the working class who have a bit of savings, a businessman who doesn't need to look respectable while hoping to save money. There are many of them in Backland. Leppard thought for a moment, then nodded slightly. I can try, but 100 gold pounds? I can try, but I don't have the money for spare parts. I'll invest 100 gold pounds in addition to my suggestion just now. I'll take a total. Klein hesitated to say the 10% of the shares. 15% was better. After all, 100 pounds was strictly speaking not much. You can have 35% of the shares, but that's only limited to the bicycle concept you described. Leppard spoke out first. Afraid that KLEIN would make an unreasonable request? Deal. KLEIN immediately laughed. Well, first draw. This is gonna make so much passive income with that shit, dude. Deal. These bikes are gonna be so popular in Backland. Especially when every borough is like Tengen City in of itself. Damn, this is gonna be sick. You can have 35% of the shares, but it's only limited to the bicycle concept you described. Leppard spoke out at first, afraid that KLEIN would make an unreasonable request. Deal. KLEIN immediately laughed. We'll first draw up a simple contract and settle this matter afterwards. I'll find a lawyer to make a formal contract and add some detailed terms. For example, if there's anyone else who wants to invest, they must first get my consent. No problem, Leppard replied impatiently. All he wanted was to buy his spare parts as soon as possible. In the gloominess brought about by the drizzle, KLEIN returned to the Sherwood Borough's Mink Street. He entered the house and went straight to the bathroom on the first floor and resolved the problem of his bloated stomach splash. As the water echoed, KLEIN bent down to wash his head. At that moment, an image appeared in his mind. The mirror in front of the sink reflected his lowered head, dim surroundings, and a pair of eyes to his side. A pair of eyes? Fuck you. If it's the fucking hidden stage, I'm a... No. The Mastermind? Fuck you. Who is it? No, I don't want to read this. Oh my god. Alright. If this is our homie hidden stage, bro, I'm gonna need you to put on your boxing gloves, okay? Why is he called a fucking Mastermind, bro? I haven't even updated my chapter. I'm already tilting, and we're like not even one sentence into this. Who is it, bro? Chapter 228 is called the Mastermind. Almost instinctively, KLEIN bent his knees and rolled sideways towards the bathroom door. So, a small black feathered arrow stabbed in... What the fuck is going on? What? No, we're not. No, you're okay, OG. A small black feathered arrow stabbed into the wash basin. The arrow seemed to be made of bone and suffused a blue luster. Oh, it's the gang. It was extremely beautiful. Wait. If KLEIN had hesitated in any way, he definitely would have been able to. He definitely wouldn't have been able to escape this sudden attack. After rolling for a moment, KLEIN reached into his pocket and attempted to pull out a few tarot cards, but at that moment, he felt a gust of wind and It's a wind blast. But at that moment, he... Oh, somebody has the creeping hunger. Face change. And the... Oh, I think I know what's going on. You better read the Spirit of Light. No, I know. We have to end stream in 6 minutes, technically. But we'll finish it. We'll have a quick outro. If KLEIN has hesitated in any way, he definitely would have been able to escape this sudden attack. After rolling for a moment, KLEIN reached into his pocket watch and attempted to pull out a few tarot cards. But at that moment, he felt a gust of wind engulfing him. Through the corners of his eyes, he saw a black figure quickly closing in on him at high speeds. It appeared in front of him in an extraordinary pose as he tightened his foot and kicked out from the bottom to the top. Realizing that he couldn't avoid the attack, KLEIN quickly gave up his previous intentions and used his elbows to block the attack. With a bang, he felt his entire left arm go numb, and his body was yanked over, just like in the sport squash at the mid-class that the middle class loved to play the most, or like a soccer ball that was now popular among the lower class. With the immense strain, KLEIN's heart tightened. Without being flustered, he adjusted his body in mid-air and changed his posture, barely maintaining his balance as if he was performing acrobats. Pa. At this moment, a tree bark colored blow pipe had just landed on the floor to the bathroom and bounced behind the door at a declining speed. Just as KLEIN was about to stretch out of his body to firmly stand and face the follow-up attack, a scene suddenly flashed in his mind. The speed of the enemy and the far black exceeded his expectations, arriving even faster than he had expected. He lowered his body and swung his arm, striking him in the chest. In the blink of an eye, KLEIN's body bent over, spinning a half circle more like a small ball that kept falling and kept being thrown around. Pow. He stretched out his hand and pressed it into the ground, opening his legs like scissors while keeping his head low. It made black clothed man's fist miss as it tore through empty space. The first that was originally aimed at his chest could only hit his legs after KLEIN turned his body, but his legs were open wide. Pushing up, his legs closed in together, allowing KLEIN to leap nimbly to the side as he finally managed to stand up straight. Pow. Before he had the chance to observe his enemy, the black figure had already arrived in front of him, bringing with it a strong gust of wind. What a fast reaction. KLEIN quickly lifted his arm up in front of him to block. With a dull thud, he felt as if he could collide with a black bear. Falling. Oh my god, I'm reading wrong. I'm reading wrong. Every time there's action, I go crazy. I'm sorry. Failing to withstand the immense force, he could only stagger backwards. His arms almost turned numb in the process. At the same time, KLEIN finally recognized his attacker. He had dark, so it is the guy that came up to him. He had dark skin, lean, a hard build with a receding eye sockets. Yeah, it's him. He had like a blue coat or something. He was none other than the executioner of the Zamagir gang. KLEIN got hands? Oh, he got hands. Mercelot, the person who had come to see Detective Moriarty in the morning. Pop, pop, pop. With a fierce glint in his eyes, Mercelot closely pursued after him as he flung both of his arms, delivering left hooks and right punches in a barrage of attacks at KLEIN. The gap between KLEIN's strength and that of his opponent was obvious. He was unable to face him head on, and he had to rely on his agility and premonitionary senses to barely avoid the combo punches. No, I have to make full use of my advantages. With a similar thought, KLEIN stopped engaging in melee combat. He lowered his body and rolled to the side. Crack. A chair was torn apart by Mercelot's kick. KLEIN supported his body with one hand as he exerted strength in his waist and continued rolling in a bid to seek a chance to use his tarot cards and self-made charms. Tap, tap, tap. Mercelot caught up quickly and kicked out his legs one after another. Dude, this guy is pretty strong. That was, and I mean, he's no true creator spawn, but like, he's pretty strong. Mercelot caught up quickly and kicked out his legs one after another. That was in no way slower than his opponent. He was just like a giant bear with a gift of agility and had zero weaknesses. He made it so that the rolling KLEIN was only capable of focusing on dodging and defending without giving him the chance to draw his cards or use his charms. Kacha, bam, bam. A chair was broken, the table overturned, the coat rack toppled, and KLEIN had circled most of the way around, but the situation was turning dire. I can't go on like this. He kept dodging, rolling, and tumbling, seeking every opportunity to turn the situation around. Suddenly, an idea came to him when he spotted the coffee table in the living room through the corner of his eyes. Bam! KLEIN defended a blow with one arm as a... Oh my god, I read that wrong, dude. I'm already hyped up. Dude, bam! KLEIN defended with a blow with one arm as he jumped back towards the living room while enduring the pain. At this moment, Mercelot's legs, muscles bulging suddenly like they were inflated with air. What? Boom! He stepped on the ground so hard that it seemed to shake, and he jumped up and shot at KLEIN like a bullet. With one of his legs aimed at him, KLEIN barely managed to hold on for a moment before being sent flying again, crashing through the coffee table with a clang, sending the ceramic tea set flying towards the cupboard, scattering the round fountain pens, the contract template, and the various newspapers on the floor. I'm choking on my words! Seeing that the detective in the black double-breasted coat was weakened from the impact and momentarily unable to stand up on roll, a fierce glint flashed in Mercelot's eyes. He slid forward, pushing his knee out amidst the shattering sounds of the porcelain. KLEIN's eyes turned dark as he watched the scene. He was already holding a contract template in his hands. He had fled to the coffee table in the living room, ignoring the warnings his premonitions was given. He slowly picked up a contract template of a newspaper. When he saw Mercelot's knees coming up, KLEIN's wrist shook. At that moment, a scene appeared in his mind once again. A scene with Mercelot's neck twisted backwards. So, KLEIN slightly pressed his wrist, shaked out the contract template in his hand. So, the contract was like a dart made of fine steel as it shook Mercelot's throat. At that moment, the distance between the two of them was less than a meter. So 3 feet. Moreover, as Mercelot closed in, the distance between them was decreasing. A white item was reflected in Mercelot's eyes as he instinctively tried to jump back to dodge. Oof, the contract stabbed right through Mercelot's throat. Ew, penetrating his windpipe. Best NBA player right now is Nikola Jokic, the MVP. Well, are we making a basketball reference here? Not the tea set, a poor tea set. Blood with patches of bubbling blood gushed out as Mercelot fell in front of KLEIN. Ugh! His knees heavily hitting the ground. Huff, huff, huff. He pulled out the bloodied contract template. How did he get in with the contract template? Is it like a hard object or is it just paper? Oh, wait. I remember he mentioned he can paper like optics. It's like a sharp dagger in a way, right? He literally aimbotted him, right? Yeah, I remember he can make paper like super sharp, right? And throw it like a dagger, right? That's what happened, right? When he became a clown? That's one of his abilities. That's how he was able to use the tarot cards as weapons, right? He can turn them into sharp objects now. KLEIN, however, he was able to stop the blood from flowing out of his wound as his eyes gradually became unfocused. In the end, his body twitched a few times as he stopped moving. KLEIN took a moment to recover before he had the strength to turn around and stand up. He had a few tarot cards between his fingers and guard against possible counterattacks and other enemies. After activating his spirit vision and confirming that his assailant was dead, oh, he already killed him? Clown powers can make paper sharp. Okay. After activating his spirit vision and confirming that his assailant was dead, KLEIN looked around and didn't see any other auras. Only then did he relax a little. He noticed that the two of the chairs were broken, the coffee table was smashed up in several spots, and porcelain was strewn all over the floor. The entire living room, dining room, and foyer were in a mess. Lowering his head, he saw that the sleeves of his suit had been damaged and that the outer layers of the cloth had been stained with a great deal of dust. Suddenly, KLEIN said softly in a self-deprecating manner, "There's no way to claim reimbursement for this. Ha ha ha." He laughed as if he had encountered something that could amuse him for the rest of his life. He laughed so hard that his body bent forward and backward to the point where only his laughter reverberated in the entire house. A few seconds later, KLEIN stopped smiling and walked to the corpse with a heavy expression. He wanted to make the dead speak. Can he do that? Being familiar with the mediumship ritual and answering his own prayers, KLEIN took a whiff of the refreshing fragrance and used the technique of the dream divination to whisper the mastermind who sent Mercelot on this mission. Soon, his eyes turned black as he entered a dream and saw a gray blur. Suddenly, the gray and blurry world and lit figures changed, forming numerous scenes and images before him. In front of Mercelot was a middle-aged man without a hat. His white shirt had a complicated layer, petal-shaped collar, and is that Leonard? Which made him look very magnificent. Matched with a tight black vest and skinny trousers, he looked godly and exaggerated. No, it's not him. This middle-aged man had brown hair and blue eyes, a thin face. No, this is a new character. With his stubble, he was a very good-looking gentleman. He looked at Mercelot and said in a deep voice, "No matter what you do, make sure you find Ian Wright alive. If he's dead, bring him to me within an hour and preferably within 15 minutes. Yes, Mr. Ambassador." Mercelot didn't hide his unruliness, but still kept his head lowered. The scene shattered and KLEIN frowned. "Mr. Ambassador, this matter actually involves other countries. Judging by the style of the shirt, the ambassador is most likely the ambassador of the Intis Republic in Backland. Ian is only a teenage boy. Is he like a son? The gentleman is able to channel spirits, or at least he has someone around him who can." That's what he said, bring me within the hour 15, right? KLEIN thought for a moment, then constructed another sentence for the dream divination. The reason for finding Ian Wright. In the grayish, blurry dream, KLEIN once again saw the middle-aged gentleman from before. He stared at Mercelot and said in a low voice, "You don't need to know why, just heed my instructions. I gave you the potion and money to become the person in power behind the Zomanger gang." I can't pronounce that. "Not for you to raise questions, but for you to do things. Yes, you only need to know that Ian Wright might be involved in an item of great importance." As the scene faded away, KLEIN once again exited the dream. "An item of great importance. I really can't tell. Ian, what could it be? Potion? So Mercelot is actually a Beyonder. It's no wonder that his combat skills were so powerful and terrifying. He should be a Beyonder adept in this field." As these thoughts crossed his mind, KLEIN felt exhausted. It seemed that responding to his own request had consumed too much of his spirituality. If he wanted to have his mediumship standards restored to what it was previously, he estimated that it would only happen when he was a Sequence 7. Nah, no one can pronounce it, don't worry. Okay. After ending the ritual and dispelling the wall of spirituality, KLEIN looked at Mercelot's corpse and carefully observed it for a long time. Finally, he saw specks of spiritual radiance converging at the wound of his opponent's throat, slowly congealing into a piece. Congealing. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing my words now at the end of the stream. Carefully grabbing it, KLEIN pulled out a dark red object that looked like jelly from Earth. Oh, it's an item. Carefully grabbing it, KLEIN pulled out a dark red object that looked like jelly from Earth. Is this the Beyonder characteristics left behind by Mercelot? I wonder what kind of sequence potion it is. That's easy to determine. I'll get the answer by doing a divination above the Grey Fog. Theoretically speaking, the Beyonder characteristics of low sequence Beyonders will be able to imbue a person with the corresponding powers, even without the supplementary ingredients. However, one can easily lose control and go insane on spot after consuming it. Nearly all the supplementary ingredients for low sequence potions lack spirituality. KLEIN's thoughts ran wild before he finally forced himself to focus. A corpse was now in front of him. It gave him a headache thinking about what he should do next. That gave him a headache. Like, he wasn't even scared. He just got used to it. He's like, what a drag. I like the chapter for tomorrow's stream. The lesser of two evils. The first fight of volume 2 was pretty good. KLEIN has come a long way. Coming from the harbor fight, KLEIN was pretty lucky. Like, congealing. Thank you, username. Like, compared to the harbor fight, he was pretty lucky when he, what was the artifact? When he used sealed artifact 2049, right? The basic doll? Shit, what was the puppet? The puppet would like reverberate like intensely whenever he was surrounded by what was the family? Oh my god, what was the family's name? Oh my, you know what I'm saying. Like, he's come a long way since that fight. I was trying to sound intellectual by recalling sealed artifact, but I know the antagonist puppet. Thank you. Yeah, as I was saying, he's come a long way since the antagonist family puppet carried that fight and saved his life. That was pretty cool. Yeah, the doll of the antagonist family. Yeah, he's come a long way since, because that doll carried the fight. That was pretty cool, dude. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty sick. But I like it. That was a good fight. I'm excited to see how the fights get more and more complicated moving forward in volume 2. I like it. I feel a little bit bad because I have to end stream now and I had to go out, so I feel like I kind of gave that chapter a disservice by reading it quick. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I feel bad for reading that chapter in a rushed way, because that was the first time KLEIN actually threw hands and was able to, you know, fight back. But that was cool, dude. That was a pretty good fight. I liked it. I like it. That was pretty sick. But I'm excited to continue tomorrow. We will be streaming. This only works for the live stream time, but we will be streaming 26 hours from now. Oh yeah, they get complicated, right? Oh, I'm excited. I'm ready to see how crazy it goes. After stream, look at what I sent to you on Discord. For sure. I'll look into it right now. I got you, OG. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you guys for watching. The video will be up. Wow, I'm studying my words. The video probably won't be up until very late in the day or early morning, depending on where you guys live, because I gotta be out for a few hours. But I'll try and have it up within the next 6 hours. The fights get very interesting and complex later on. That's what I want. I want to read some crazy ass complicated fights. I want to be like, oh, this is a big brain fight. Like, I want to be able to fully digest a complicated ass fight like later on. I think that'd be sick. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I was your host, Easy Geeky. If you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Thank you, guys. Peace. Have a beautiful day or night wherever you live. Monday stream will be at the usual time. Yeah, have a nice day. Yeah, and go back to sleep, Jen. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. All right, later, guys. Peace. Have a beautiful day.